Hi, I'm ex-TV producer Jennifer Moore. In this video, we're going to be doing another tutorial. I'm going to show you my process for using Photoshop to make YouTube thumbnails. Now, YouTube thumbnails are extremely important to YouTube's success. In fact, I think the strong elements that you need are a very good title, compelling and very visual thumbnail, good content obviously, and also a very filled out and detailed description box. So we're going to focus on the thumbnail. I've been doing thumbnails for several years, and at first I used to really suck at them. So if you're new to this and you're kind of afraid, intimidated, don't be. You can learn this. If I can do it, believe me, you can. So I'm going to show you how I do like the cutout background, do a fun color solid in the back, and we're gonna have some fun here. So I've already got some edited images that I did in Lightroom. So the first thing I'm gonna do is create a new project. All right, let's click on that. Okay, so you can choose, different sizes. Again, Photoshop already has a thumbnail ready thing. So I'm gonna create this. We're gonna call it, and this is gonna be for a video I did on a Japanese cleansing oil review. So I'm gonna call it Japanese cleansing oil. Create. I'm not really gonna mess with this too much. The orientation is fine. Background content's white. That's totally fine too. So we will do that, and then you're gonna get a new project. Now you can have your layout be different. Like now it's showing like these grids, so you don't have to show that if you don't want to, but that can be helpful to kind of show you what's in like the safe area. So okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is let's create a solid background. Okay, so I've got this background here. So let's go to right click on it and go to blending options. All right, I'm gonna try color overlay. And all right, so if you click on color overlay, if you check it, click on it, opacity's at 91, I'm gonna make it 100. You can change the color. So right now it's pink. I could make it literally anything I want. I could make it bright blue. I could make it green. I'm gonna do pink because I think that'll work with my concept here. So we're going to, let's try light pink. I can always go back and change this. So click OK. And okay, so now I need to add an image. So I have a few images that I want to remove the background for, so cut it out. So I'm going to click File and Open, and we're going to open the photo in a different thing, and then we're going to play with it. Okay, so I've got a few photos. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the image of me. I know this is kind of crazy, and one thing to keep in mind about the thumbnails is you want your thumbnail to evoke the strongest part of your video, the most compelling moment, the most visual. So think, what's the most exciting thing that happened in my video? And also keep in mind that when you're planning out your videos and shooting them, you should already know in your head what the thumbnail will be. So when I was shooting this video, I was like, I think it would be funny if the image was something where I'm like rubbing my face and trying to get all the makeup off. I've got a weird look on my face. So anything where it evokes a lot of emotion, or where people, like you want your thumbnail to be something that people see and be like, I have to see more. So if your thumbnail doesn't have those qualities, you might want to rethink it or just work on stronger thumbnails. Having a good thumbnail is extremely critical to people watching your video and for your channel to grow, because the stronger your thumbnail is, the stronger your title is, the more YouTube will recommend your videos to other viewers. Okay, so there's a lot of options over here. I like to do this quick selection tool. Over here, it's like a little, it looks like a paintbrush and a little like dotted line. So click on that, and this took me a little bit to learn. You can change like the size, you can change all this stuff. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is just start outlining, and you want it to be on this little plus here. And then I'm gonna start outlining, and it sort of helps you guess where the outline is. This is actually pretty intuitive. Okay, and I'm gonna show you what to do too if it doesn't get it exactly right. This is actually pretty spot on, but say it accidentally cut off part of my hand here, so now this would be totally off. You just go and hit this little negative sign thing, and then go in and fix it. So you can do a lot to play with this. Okay. All right, so I'm getting rid of this. Okay, and I want to make sure that it gets my thumb in there too, otherwise my thumb's going to be cut off. Okay. All right, and now it kind of did the opposite thing. It kind of got a little more of that background in there. So I am going to try to fix that. Let me change the size a little bit smaller. You can also blow up the photo. Let's see here. Here we go. So if you hit Alt, I'm hitting Alt. I'm on a PC, by the way, and hit my scroller on the mouse. You can really blow this up and really do some finer detail here. So I'm going to try that. All right, that's not bad. All right. Okay, so that's pretty decent. Okay, I'm going to go with that. And I wouldn't stress out about this too much, you know, because I'll show you the edges are really going to blend, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so now I'm going to go to select up here, hit inverse, and then hit Control C. And that is actually going, so basically now instead of selecting the background, it is now selecting me. And by hitting Control C, I just copied that. So now click over to your other window here and hit Control V, or was it edit paste, and see now I show up here. Okay, so now you're probably like, well, that looks okay, Jen, but the image doesn't really stand out very much. And you are right. So what you can do here, and I'm going to rename this layer Jen image or something because I'm Jen. If you right click on here, right click on the image under your window here, hit blending options. Now I can add that outline that you see on all of those cool thumbnails that you see on the trending page. So you can do a lot of things. I can add a stroke, which will add, wow, okay. And now you can see down in the corner here that I missed a spot. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Okay, so I'm going to delete this. Okay, and we're going to go back here. I'm going to hit select, inverse again. And now you see there's a little spot that I missed here, and that's totally okay. So I'm just going to go in and get rid of it. And that's going to fix it. All right, so now you fixed your mistake. This happens to me all the time. You can just quickly go back and do it again. Select inverse again, Control Z or edit copy, go back here and then hit edit paste or Control V. I always do Control V, but I want to show you visually, and now it's fixed. So, all right, I'm going to do this again, Gen image. All right, so now if you right click on here, go to blending options. Let's see here. All right, see, this is cool. So you can do something like this. You can add a stroke. Another good option that people do is called drop shadow. All right, so if you hit drop shadow, let's see here, you can see it really adds like a shadow there. Let's see here. And the opacity, you can up. So now it adds like kind of a thing behind me. You can also change this to white, or you can change it to any color. But with white, I've noticed it doesn't really show up. So that's why if I want to do white, I normally do this outer glow option. And I really like this. I use this quite a bit. You can also combine features. You can do stroke and outer glow. So I'm going to change the outer glow a little bit. And I'm going to increase the spread and size. So see, look, that's a really, whoa, okay, that's a little in your face. But you can really do a lot with this. I normally keep my outer glow somewhere around there. Like, I don't want it to look super obnoxious. You can also put a stroke in addition to it, so you can do that. I might actually try this for this one. You can change the color of it. You can have the stroke be dark. You can have it be, you know, this teal color. You can have it be, let me try orange. That might be interesting. Although, you know what, it doesn't stand out. And the whole thing about your thumbnail is that you really need the thumbnail to stand out. So that should be your main purpose for doing this. All right, so let's give this a whirl. So I've got this. I've got some outer glow. And now that I've got the stroke, also on the stroke, you can change whether you can change the position. So you can have the stroke be inside the image. Does not look good. centering, which also does not look good. I like to do outside, especially for people. And then if you went back to outer glow, you can make this even bigger now that you've got your stroke that's taking up part of that space. So you can really, yeah, this can really be kind of in your face. Okay, so now we're gonna leave that. So see, it kind of does blend in with the background. So I might want to change my background. So let me play with the background a little bit. I don't know what color I'm going to use. I don't know, maybe like a yellow. I don't know if that would look okay. And I feel like that doesn't have enough contrast. Like this image is kind of light. I almost want something kind of darker, like this. So you see, with the orange like this, now that really starts to stand out. I almost kind of like this. Might go with this. So let's play around with this. The other thing we could do. No, I don't think blue would be good. And I don't want to use any sort of green because I already used it for that color. I don't think green would be good. I don't even think red would be good. I do think orange is probably the best option at this point. All right, so let's stay with the orange. Okay. So the other thing I want to show you is that you can play with the image. So I clicked on the layer, and each of these things in Photoshop is a layer. So that's, you can also change the orientation. Again, if you put the background, and I'm going to change this to orange background since it's clearly not pink anymore. Orange background. You can change which layer is in front or on the top. And if you also want to play with the image, you can go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. You can make this bigger or smaller. And if you are changing the size, make sure to hold down Shift. Hold down the Shift key, so it keeps the same. So it keeps the same, like it kind of locks the height and the width, so it's not getting all out of whack. But if you wanted to, I could make this bigger. I could make this like super huge. So I could do something like that. The other thing you could do, let's see, I don't think I'm gonna do this. You can also move this, so you can move it around. And I actually might do that, so I might put this like over here. The other thing you can do is you can rotate it. So say I wanted to, all right, put this on an angle. I could then go to Edit, Transform, Rotate, and you could put this at like a funky angle. If the top of my head wasn't cut off, this would work better. But because the top of my head is cut off in the photo, I do really need to stay. All right, so I'm just gonna, all right, so I just kind of undid that. So let's see here. I'm gonna make this smaller again, but I was just kind of showing you what you can do. If the top of my head was in frame, I sometimes will put myself at kind of a fun angle. It kind of adds just more visual interest, but you don't have to do that. All right, so I'm gonna make myself a little smaller here. All right, I obviously don't want the top of my head showing here because that would be bad. So we're just gonna go like this, and that's gonna be our image. But I am gonna, oops, okay. I am gonna move this around a little bit. So I'm gonna put myself sort of over here. And we're gonna call that a day. Whoops. Okay, so we've got this. And this is a pretty good element to begin with, but it needs a little bit more pizzazz, right? So I'm also going to, I've got the product bottle, so I'm gonna remove the background in that and then add in some of those images. And I'm not even sure, now that I'm looking at this, I'm not sure I really like the stroke effect. So if you click this eye, like this little eye thing here, you can see what it looks like without it. And then with it, so you can kind of see what different things look like together. I don't know if I like this. I might keep it, I might not. So now I'm gonna open up another photo. So now I've got the product bottle, and I'm going to remove the background of this photo and put a bunch of bottles into the shot. So we're gonna do the same thing with the quick selection tool. And I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. I'm gonna increase the size a little bit, just so it makes it easier on myself, and then just quickly outline the entire bottle. And notice it didn't do a perfect job just because the background does blend in with the top. So again, go to this little negative selection thing and then it'll help you fix everything. All right, so here we go. So this did a pretty decent job. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. So just know that you really, like, if it's not like 100%, don't worry too much about it. Okay, so that did a pretty good job. So now I'm gonna hit select inverse again. I'm gonna do Control V, go back to my thumbnail and then hit Control V, oh wait, hit Control C. So hit Control C and then go back here and hit Control V, and now I've got a bottle over here, and that's pretty cool. And I think if you hit Alt, it'll multiply them. So I can have like 50 bottles in here if I wanted to by hitting Alt and then dragging, which I kind of like this whole look of like there being like a lot of bottles. I can change the size of some of these. So now I've got tons of copies of this. So I'm gonna play around with this a little bit. Let's try to play with the scale. And I'm of course definitely I'm gonna kind of make some of these rotating. Let's see, does this rotate it? Oh, cool. Maybe it does. I don't know. Wait, no. Oh, no, that does not look good. Not really sure what that is, but we're going to go with that for now. All right, so let's go to each copy. Okay, so you can kind of see what they are. I'm going to make some of them smaller and some of them bigger. All right, and if you, again, make sure to hold down Shift. If you don't hold down Shift, you know, it's going to go like this, which is not a great look. So make sure you're holding down the Shift key so that it keeps the ratio of the height and the width, right? All right, so let's see what, and you can kind of see which one each is. Okay, that's number 4. Okay, this is number 1. So let's do a little tweaking with this. All right, scale. We'll make this one a little bit smaller. And I think it would be kind of fun to have these all be like different sizes. So again, you can really do a lot with this. And I'm going to have this one be bigger. Maybe this one can be like the one in the background or something. So I mean, really get creative with this. And the other thing you can do to make sure these bottles stand out is, and I'm going to show you this, is you can add, if you right click on that layer, okay, oh sorry, hit the check mark here. If you right click on the layer, you can add drop shadow or like outer glow to all of the bottles. So you can really make these stand out. And because the bottle is like white, you know, kind of a lighter color, maybe I'll do like a drop shadow on here. So let's try drop shadow. You can add a stroke in here so you can, again, you can really help these images stand out pretty nicely. So let's see what happens if I outline this in like black. So see, that really makes the bottle stand out quite a bit. You can also change the size of the stroke so it can be kind of thin. That actually doesn't look too bad, and it really helps kind of outline the bottle. And if you add outer glow, then it really stands out. So that's sort of a good thing. So this almost kind of looks pretty good. So you see the difference between this bottle and this bottle. This one really stands out more. So I might actually do that to all the bottles. Okay. And I wonder if I can copy and paste this effect. I might be able to. I don't know. All right, so let's try doing these to all of these and see what happens. And it kind of saves your last setting, so you can do it to every single one of them. All right, so just add, and there may be a quicker way. If you know, let me know in the comments. I'm still kind of new to Photoshop, but I just wanted to show you, you know, some things I've picked up since doing it. It's a lot of fun. I love Photoshop. I've been learning After Effects, Adobe Premiere. I've been editing for a really long time, but I am having a blast doing all this stuff. Okay, so now I've got all but one. Let's see, which one does not have, okay. This is the one that doesn't have this yet. So I'm gonna add this effect to every single one of these things. Okay, here we go. So you see how much these bottles stand out. Now that looks pretty cool. And you can really move these around. I'm gonna transform, edit, transform, rotate. Now I can really start to, you know, kind of play with these a little bit. So You know, I might do that. That looks sort of interesting. And I'm just going to put bottles like kind of all over the place. I think that would be kind of fun. So that's sort of my concept for this thumbnail, is to just keep doing that. So let's see which one this is. Okay, that's this one. All right, got layer 2. Wait, layer 2. Which one's this? Okay. So I'm going to rotate this one as well. And again, use your imagination, use your creativity, do whatever you want. But just make sure your thumbnails, you know, really think about the thumbnail, your concept, and what you're going to do with each one. Because it really, I cannot tell you how much it really does matter for YouTube. All right, so I might, let's see here. I might change, I'm going to put this up a little bit more. We'll copy 2. Okay. Now I'm just going to, yeah, literally go to town on all of these bottles. This one, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll keep this over here. Actually, this is looking kind of interesting. All right, maybe I'll put this over here. You still sort of get the gist here. All right. And generally you want to keep this lower right-hand corner free of anything. It tends to be covered up by the like total running time, like time clock on YouTube. So make sure nothing super important is in like this area here. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is that a lot of people are going to be watching this video on a phone or on a mobile device. So, all right, I'm going to hit Alt. So you want to make sure that if you shrink your thumbnail, does it still have impact? Does it still stand out? And if you have any text, you should be able to very much easily read the text on a very small screen. So if your text is tiny, you're not going to be able to see it. And you want to make sure if you do have text, and I'll show you how to add text, you want to make sure that the text also has a lot of contrast. If you choose 2 colors for the background and for the text that are close together, again, that's going to make it hard for people to read, and you know, they're going to be less likely to click on your video. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to add. All right, let's do a layer. I'm going to do a new layer, and I'm going to do a, let's see here, a solid. I'm trying to remember how to do that. Sorry, guys. Oh, wait. Is this the rectangle one? Okay. Rectangle tool. Okay, so I'm going to do the rectangle tool. And then say I wanted to add some text, like, you know, say right here. Okay, so I'm going to make a rectangle. And it's white now. I can make this any color I want. All right, whoops. All right, I just accidentally added another one. Okay. So let me see about the color. Okay. So now you can change the color. So maybe I'll do something like in a blue, since I already have, let's see, or like a purple, something like that. That's, again, pretty in your face. And I know you're probably thinking, wow, that looks really obnoxious, and it kind of does. But these sort of thumbnails do get more attention on YouTube. So even though you might be like, wow, that's really intense, it's kind of a good thing. So this doesn't look too bad. Okay, let me try to, yeah, and I almost want this darker. Like, again, this really, I'm not sure if I like this color. Okay, that does not look good. Orange, I can't do orange. Red, ooh, yeah. Let me try pink. That sort of looks okay. Let me see how this goes. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this and say I wanted to add some text over this. I'm just gonna keep your text on these things very simple. You don't want like 5 words. I would say at most 2 to 3 words, and it should be very simple text, not like, you know, how to make a thumbnail. I would just call this, like for this, I might just call it YouTube thumbnail if I was doing a video about, you know, for thumbnails. But for this one, I do maybe just want to do like cleansing oil. Let's try something like that. Or maybe just, let's see here. Let's see, oil. All right, actually, let's try cleansing. Okay. And, all right, you can move the text around. You can make sure it's kind of centered on here pretty well. And you can also really tweak the rectangle. So you can see, I can see the rectangle sort of looks a little, like a little too too high, like, so I can tweak this a little bit so that it's a little more matches. So you can see this pretty well, cleansing, okay. So the other thing you can do is group these together so that if you select both of these and group them, then let's see here. Is this create new group? Okay. So if you do these, let me see here. And put, all right. Where is my text here? All right, looking for my text. Where'd you go here? Oh, wait, did that go? Okay, so it did put, so the grouping did put both of these. So now I'm gonna call this cleansing, since this is the box. All right, so now if I put this above, it'll show up. And if I move this around, it'll move both of these. It'll move both the text and the box instead of just one. I can also edit the size of this a little bit. So if I wanted to make this a little bit smaller, and what I'm gonna do is I might do like cleansing and then oil. So that might be what I'm gonna do, okay. So I'm gonna make this a little bit small, but as you can see, even if it's small, you can still kind of read this. So it definitely stands out. All right, so I'm going to move this around a little bit. So I might just do, okay, I think I have an idea, okay. So I'm going to take this and rotate it just a little bit. Not crazy amount, but like something like this. Or maybe like this. Let me try to make up my mind. I think actually this looks a little bit better. Okay, so we're gonna keep this. All right, and then I'm gonna put this around over here, and then I'm gonna put the word oil over here. So if you want, what you can do is click Alt and then it'll create a new one. All right, so now I'm going to rotate this one the other way, and I'm gonna change the text on it so that it says oil. All right, so something like this. I'm obviously gonna make I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller too, and change the text in here. All right, so now I'm just in the text itself. I'm gonna change this to oil, and I'm gonna make this whole box a bit smaller. So see, this clearly does not need to be that size. All right, so we are going to, and if you click on each individual, so if you click on the group, it'll edit the whole thing. If you click on the individual element, it will just edit that particular element. All right, so I'm going to, okay. Oops. Okay, well, that's sort of bad. Hold on a second. Let me, all right, might need to start over with this. But don't worry too much about it. Anyways, you sort of get the point. Let me try to make this new, I don't know, this editing, because I'm trying to change the orientation, it's not working out super well, but this is very easy to start over again. Oh, and the other thing you can do with the text, although that text is pretty good, I think. All right, so let me try to make another, let's just make a new rectangle altogether. Okay. So I'm gonna make one like about this size, and I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger since the word oil is so, you know, small. All right, and actually I wanna make this outside that group. Okay, let me move this out. Okay, so now at least this is not part of this. And I need to choose a color for this rectangle. I'm not sure. Maybe, I think a blue might work at this point. All right, so I'm gonna do, yeah, I think I'm gonna do sort of a blue. So let's do a blue. I'm gonna do like light blue, and then I'm gonna do black text. So something sort of along the lines of this, I think. I want it to be super, I want it to be a little more blue. I want it to sort of match that bottle, something along those lines. That's not really bright enough. But again, you really need to play with this. Again, spend a lot of time in your, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to spend a good amount of time on your thumbnails and don't like, you know, half-ass it. So, okay, this is not a bad look. Okay, we might go with this. So let me move this rectangle around a little bit. Add some text. All right, oil. All right, now I'm going to make this text, I'm going to make it bigger first of all. And then I'm also going to make it, so you can see like the white doesn't really show up that well on the blue. I'm going to make this text black. All right, so first of all, we are going to, oops, okay. All right, and if you make a mistake or like do something you don't want to do, just hit Control Z and that'll undo your last thing. That'll undo your last action. Okay, so I'm going to make this black by going over here to the color. Okay, so you see this stands out quite a bit more, which is good. And I'm also going to make the text bigger. I know you're like, wow, that's already in your face. Now, let me try to make it 450. Okay, so see, that's a pretty good size. You can also change how far apart everything is spaced. So I can do that. So that's a pretty good spacing there. And now I can sort of center it on this box here too. And I'm going to change the size of the rectangle now that I've got the text size worked out and everything. I'm going to change this a little bit just to match it more to the actual text here. All right, so we're going to do that. I think that looks pretty okay. And now I'm going to group both these together since, all right, we're going to call this oil group. Now that I've got this worked out, I'm going to keep these together. All right, so I might put this like kind of over here. Again, I don't want to put it like too far down because it's going to get cut off. So I might do this and let's try to rotate this a little bit and see how it looks. And actually, I kind of almost want to make this bigger too. Let me see how it happens if I, all right, hold on a second. I'm gonna make it bigger first, and then we're going to rotate it. Because the word oil is so short, you can really make this kind of big. All right, so let's rotate you. And I'm not gonna rotate it a ton, you know, so I think I'm gonna keep this like, sort of like this. Something along these lines. I don't want to be too far outside this line. So I might just do, yeah, something along this line. And yeah, you can still see all the product bottles, you know, it's just sort of like, but again, this is a good, like this is a really in-your-face thumbnail. I sort of like this. And if I make it small, you can still clearly see what it is and it really catches your attention. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about the background color. So let me see if I can play with this a little bit more. I don't know how I feel about this. All right, so I don't know. I almost want this to be darker. Yeah, like this almost kind of makes it stand out even more, but I almost want this to be a little more yellow or something. Actually, maybe not. I don't know, maybe that burnt orange is actually better. That's a little too in your face. All right, I think something like this is about right. Okay, so we're gonna keep it like this. So this is the completed thumbnail. So now obviously I'm gonna save this. All right, and I'm gonna save this. I just keep a file for all my thumbnails. I keep the Photoshop file and then I save them as a JPEG. I like to save them as kind of a lower quality version just because I've been uploading the image other places too. So I'm just gonna save this also as a JPEG, and I do lowest quality. I find, you know, it doesn't, you can still see it pretty well, so it's not too big of a deal. And some of the formats I upload these photos to don't take super big files, but I find this is sufficient for me. You may disagree, that's okay. All right, so now I'm gonna save this, and now you will have a, all right, let's go back here. Now you will have a completed thumbnail. So that is how I make my thumbnails. Again, I know everyone does them differently. This is just the way I choose to do it. If you you know, have any tips that you think might help people, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you have any questions, also feel free to let me know and I'll try to answer them. But this is just how I've been doing thumbnails, and I've been having a lot of fun learning. And it took me a while to figure out how to remove the background and add all this stuff, but once you do, you really start to get quicker and faster at it. So I'm Jennifer Moore, XTV producer, your guide inside the media industry. I've also really want to help people who are interested in YouTube but don't know where to start. So look for more tutorials of this nature. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you guys later.